You won't believe why all compasses point to the north. Forget Everest. The tallest mountain on Earth is RUPES NIGRAS, a black rock composed of magnetic rocks, a secret that the world must not know. Science and the media deliberately hide it. Why? Because if the world knew that such an enormous mountain exists at the center of the Earth, it would change the course of history and destroy the theory of the Earth being a globe. This mountain is located at the center of the North Pole. It is so tall that its peaks reach the clouds. Observe how the wind is blocked by its immense size. It is said to measure over 100 kilometers in height and 64 kilometers in diameter. This could explain why all compasses point to this location. And the strangest thing is that the most powerful company in the world, BlackRock, bears the name of this mountain. Is it a mere coincidence? Or has this name been deliberately chosen by the global elites who have planned everything? We all know that Antarctica is the most mysterious and intriguing continent that exists. Antarctica is not a vast expanse of ice at the bottom of the Earth, but rather a gigantic wall of ice surrounding all the continents of this world. In 1992, a new standard world map called the Gleason map was published, depicting Antarctica encircling all our continents. A very intriguing fact is that the logo of the United Nations strongly resembles this map.
Stop scrolling. I'm going to show you how day and night and seasons work on the true model of the Earth. Now let's take a look at the Gleason's map made in 1892, a map that is scientifically and practically correct. The standard map before the world elites came along. Speaking of world elites, the same map that the United Nations is using as their logo. Isn't that interesting? As you can see in this map, they have Roman numerals 1 to 12, then restarts 1 to 12 again. This represents night and day. So when the sun rotates for 12 hours on this side, they experience daytime. And on the other side, they experience nighttime. And this is exactly what it would look like on a flat Earth model. And this is why you see angled rays, or known as crepuscular rays, because the sun is actually a lot smaller and closer to the Earth. Now I'm going to explain seasons. Now take note of this side of the map. This is the December solstice. So when the sun rotates on its outer perimeter over the Tropic of Capricorn, which looks like this, people up north would experience winter. And this is the June solstice, where the sun is rotating more towards the North Pole or over the Tropic of Cancer, which looks like this, where Alaska could see 24-hour days and people in the south would experience winter. And you have fall, which is between summer and winter. This is the north, and as seasons change, the sun starts to rotate more south. Now these people, much better. Now they are lying to you because they want to hide God's true creation, and they don't want you to know how important you are.
Visual representation of me going down the rabbit hole and coming out as a flat earther.
Why was it so...
RUPES NIGRAS. What the hell is this? Well, it happens to be the magnetic center of the Earth. Now, I'm not talking about a globe model where I'm talking about the inside of the Earth. I'm talking about on a flat Earth model, the magnetic center of the Earth. Here we can see it in the middle of all that. Yeah. Right in the middle. And so what is it? Well, here's where the fun starts. The RUPES NIGRAS, otherwise known as Black Rock, a phantom island, was believed to be a black rock located at the magnetic North Pole or at the North Pole itself, described by Mercator as 33 French miles in size. It purportedly explained why all compasses point to this location. The idea came from a lost work titled Inventia Fortunata, and the island featured on maps from the 16th and 17th centuries, including those of Gerardus Mercator and his successors. Mercator described the island in 1577 letter to John Dee, the famous court magician of the time. Okay, Black Rock. Where do we get that from? I wonder where Black Rock gets its name from. I wonder where Blackstone, the world's largest private equity firm, gets its name from. I wonder where the Teflon gets its appearance from. I wonder where this cube in Astor Place in Manhattan gets its shape from. Now, these are all across the world, and some of them spin, some of them don't, but come on now. And then, of course, you all know the one at the pole of Saturn. Coinky dink? I don't think so. Now, some people talk about a place at the North Pole called Mount Meru. And Mount Meru, they claim, is where the astral light from the black sun, yada yada, you know, you can read about Savitri Devi and all these people, you know, and Miguel Serrano, they talk about this, the astral light coming from Mount Meru, the true magnetic north of the planet. There's also a real Mount Meru in Tanzania. Now, I don't have a flat earth map in front of me, but maybe on a flat earth, Tanzania is within, you know, not a direct ley line or whatever, who the heck knows. But there's something at the North Pole, and I think some of you from the YouTube days probably remember the somewhat egotistical, narcissistic nutter, the blood over intent guy, who claimed that he was Satan incarnate or whatever nonsense. Satana is a real place in India, and Satana means truth in Sanskrit, so, I mean, there's that also. But there's something to the North Pole. Like I said, the Earth is a ring magnet. There's no pole shift because there's no other pole to shift to. On a globe model, you got North and South Pole, sure. But on a flat Earth model, it's a ring magnet. The ring is the Antarctic ice wall. And the magnet, the center, is the North Pole. Now, and then here, like in the Bible and all the other holy texts, they talk about the four corners of the Earth, right? And then you hear in magical terms, like there's an interview with Jacob Rothschild where he uses the phrase squaring the circle. And nobody seems to know what this means, squaring the circle. Squaring the circle essentially just means the circle is akin to the feminine principle. I'm not talking about females, I'm talking about the feminine principle of creation is dispersion, chaos. Any of you familiar with chaos magic or Aleister Crowley, it's Choronzon 333, the demoness, of just constantly vortexing creation destruction, right? And the square, the four corners, is known as the masculine principle, bounding the feminine so that it doesn't just subsume everything. I hope this all makes sense.
This is the dark truth about all this alien and UFO nonsense. We're also about to find out that God's word prophesied this thousands of years ago. By now, if you watch my videos, you should know that we live under God's firmament, making the existence of aliens and extraterrestrials impossible. I'm about to tell you what these wicked beings actually are. This man right here's name is Aleister Crowley. He is a high-level occult Satanist who performed all these rituals, even has a book on how to perform magic. And during one of his rituals, he summoned an interdimensional demon that he called Lamb. It looks a lot like the modern depiction of aliens. After this experience, Aleister quoted, "Today they call them angels and demons, tomorrow they will call them something else." His name is Aleister. Where do you think they got the name Alien? Because he literally channeled one of these demonic spirits. How about all these UFO sightings? Look what it says in the book of Zechariah. This is a vision of a flying roll. Look what it says here in the book of Zechariah. Zechariah had a vision of a flying roll. Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. He said unto me, What seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length is 20 cubits, and the breadth is 10 cubits. Guys, that's about 30 feet. Then he said unto me, This is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. Everyone that stealeth, and everyone that sweareth. And it says here, I will bring it forth, saith the Lord of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief, and into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name, and shall remain in the midst of his house, and shall consume it with the timber and the stones thereof. And look what it says here. I said, What is it? He said, This is an ephah that goeth forth. So that thing he spotted is an ephah. Guys, this is an ephah. Looks exactly like those UFOs they're spotting. And look what it says here. This is a woman that sitteth in the midst of the ephah. And he said, This is wickedness. And look what it says here. They lifted up the ephah between the earth and the heaven. Guys, do not be deceived. Guys, Jesus is coming back very soon. Lord wants a relationship with you. Call upon his name.
If you're a Christian that believes the Bible, then after I show you the earth is flat with only the Bible, you have to believe it. Let's get started. Where else to start but Genesis? In the beginning, God created heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form, void, darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, Let there be light. Saw the light, and it was good, and God divided the light and the darkness. He called this the light day, and the darkness night, and the evening and morning were the first day. Here's where it gets juicy.
Juicy.
And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. Let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament and the waters which were above the firmament. At this time, land had not been created. Land is over here on the third day. The second day was the firmament. So it was only water, a vast amount of water. He divided it with the firmament. What's the firmament? The firmament, aka heavens, aka in the Hebrew, rakia, means a solid expanse. So it's a solid expanse. There is a solid expanse dividing the waters above from below. In between this expanse, there is space. Let's see how the firmament explained in Job. Hast thou with him spread out the sky, which is strong and is molten looking glass. Exodus 24, and as they saw God of Israel, there was under his feet, as it were, paved work of sapphire stone, and as it were, the body of heaven in his clearness. And above the firmament, the solid expanse, there was over their heads was the likeness of a throne, as the appearance of sapphire stone, and upon the likeness of the throne was the likeness of the appearance of a man above upon it. Once again, the word is rakia in the Hebrew, and it means a solid expanse, solid expanse, solid expanse, solid expanse, space in between. Now some flat earth. Is it he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth, and the inhabitants thereof are grasshoppers, that stretches out the heavens as a curtain, and spread them out as a tent to dwell in? And when people say, how could there be four corners of a circular earth? Just like this, they put a false image in your head to trick you from believing the truth. The firmament dividing the waters from the waters, because all it was waters. The sky is blue because of water, not reflection. Fear before him all the earth. The world shall also be stable, that it not be moved. We're not spinning, we're not flying through space. We are stuck, we are still. They are lying to you. Nashah in Hebrew means to deceive, to beguile. They want you to think that we're out in the middle of space when really we're on a solid, flat earth, which is stable with a firmament over the top of it. The Bible says so.
Everyone thinks the Gleason map is a reverse-engineered globe map, but you ever wonder what this little doodad is? Well, in case you guys didn't know, those are like hands on a clock because it's also a timepiece. It's also a map of the seasons as it tracks the sun's orientation through the summer solstice and the winter solstice around these two tropics here. But things get really interesting when you track this patent number and find that a man named William A. Eisenhower has actually made an addition to this patent and created layers that lay over top of the Gleason map. And wouldn't you know it, those layers have to do with our stars. Yes, a geocentric star mapping system, layer by layer. Layered to perfection to help them sailors find their orientation, due to the stars spinning above us. But this isn't the only place you'll find geocentric star mapping. Look at the clock in Prague, it's a geocentric cosmological clock! And my personal favorite, the Antikythera mechanism, a geocentric astronomical calculator. When it comes to telling time and tracking seasons, geocentrism is where it's at. This is David Weiss's clock, and when I downloaded this app, I told him where I was, and you know what he told me? He told me where the sun should be at noon. So when that sun is right there, I know it's 12 o'clock. This clock, if you were to orientate it, whoop, and bring the 12 up to where about that 8 is, guess what time it is here? It's 12 o'clock. The geocentric map gives a geometric set of time zones, but the globe, look at this mistake. What? It's all mismatched and squarey and liblob and wobular and it's globular. Look at it, it's globular. That word globular always grossed me out, and now I know why. So why would we want to go with the globe's time zones all choppy and strange and disoriented when we can go with the geometric time zones? It's perfect. So please miss me with all that. The Gleason map is just a reverse-engineered version of the globe. Guys, the flat map, maybe not the Gleason, but the flat map itself has predated any globe by centuries. And if you don't believe me when it comes to bringing it back to the old school, the Sumerians. This is the Sumerian cosmology, showing a flat, stationary plane with the firmament above. And what would you say if I spun it to you like this? Do you believe in the ancient astronaut theory? A lot of you do, right? So you believe these guys were coming down and giving sacred knowledge and technology to the ancient people. Okay, well, if they were coming down bringing them ancient knowledge and technology, well, don't you think that the depictions of Earth that they drew out was advanced as well? So back before these ancient cultures had the ability to communicate with each other, you know, they're all drawing up the same thing pretty much. And a lot of you believe that these star people came down and gave them all this knowledge. Really, what are the odds that all of these cultures, without travel, were able to pretty much draw up close to the same thing? See, I personally believe that they were connected to the Creator, and that's where they got the ideas to draw up these depictions of Earth. And it's kind of funny that a lot of the ancient religious text lines up with each other as well, as if they were connected to some kind of divine source or something. The geometric geocentric model makes sense when it comes to time zones. So next time you're thinking about this globular mess, please consider that there's possibly a better way.